Thank you, Dan. So let's, if I can ask maybe the speakers to sit behind the desk with the microphones, we can have a few questions. I've got a few thoughts on like a panel discussion, but I am curious to hear if anyone has some questions. So maybe I can open it up to begin with. If anyone would like to ask the panel any questions on any of their particular roles or their experiences or the projects they're doing, please feel free. Okay, I'm gonna, oh yes.
For Jeremy. So I'm Jane from Health Affairs. I'm curious, when you are thinking about launching a new journal that is more topic focused, did you consider just expanding radiology, but having more topic channels online, for instance, and using technology to create sort of like these mini communities that Dan was talking about? So I'm curious just how you dealt with that.
Yeah, we I don't know this. We dealt with it mainly not that way. I mean, we already have, of course, on our website a browse by subspecialty type of section where you can get those, articles grouped. And I know there was some discussion earlier this morning at the keynote about curation and those types of things. But we had some topics in mind that we had thought, like on the editorial level, that would be good fits, and which kind of speaks to just managing some of those expectations a little bit, because somebody talks to somebody and this thought leader says, oh, this would be great, this would be perfect, this would be easy. And in some cases they're right, but in some cases when you do the work, it'll kind of prove otherwise. So that's where going through some of that research did help identify some topic areas, and also making sure, like I said, that if we were going to take material from radiology, would we have enough to support a journal? We can assume some direct submissions would start, but if we're going to cascade it, would we be able to fill maybe 4 to 6 issues a year at 8 articles an issue, those types of things. So.
Okay. I have a couple of things in mind, sort of in terms of questions. I hope the 4 speakers all gave you a good overview of the different roles that are going on in journals commissioning and acquisitions. But I was wondering whether the speakers could just touch upon, maybe highlight their favorite aspect of the job, or sort of something that's most rewarding that they find in their day-to-day role, and maybe highlight any particular skills that you think are very relevant in your role, certainly for the early career professionals or those that are interested in learning a bit more about journals commissioning.
Jump in. In addition to karaoke skills, because as much as any of this can be regarded as business management, it is, scholarly communication. We are publishers and we work with funders and librarians and scientists and social scientists. It is a network management exercise. So if you're someone like me who loves socializing and engaging with people and really kind of figuring out what makes people tick, and what they think is important and what they don't think is important, and really getting to know people and drilling down to details, then that's why I think scholarly publishing is a great industry to be in, because it's kind of fairly unique in the in the scale of its network of the stakeholders that kind of come together to create these things. Think of if you isolate it as a business and compare it to other businesses like retail, fashion, or like consumer electronics. You've got people that make stuff and people that buy stuff. Whereas what I love about all of this is that it's a conversation, an ongoing kind of network where everyone relies on a different node, and you can just really have myriad different careers in scholarly publishing depending on what one of the train lines that you're displaying there, Victoria, you kind of decide to follow. So that's how I've experienced this career in scholarly publishing.
I think for me, the part of the job that I like the most, and one of the skill sets that I look for in staff when we hire, is a strong customer service background, which I think is kind of surprising sometimes in the university press world, because we work so much, we work really closely with our books colleagues, and in the books divisions with monographs and such, topical knowledge is so incredibly important. But in journals, we find ourselves working across such a broad scale of topics that I'm never going to be, as informed about oncology as my editor is. So it's more important that I understand how to communicate my editor's needs and the society's wants, essentially, within my company, and kind of be an advocate, like I was saying in my presentation. And so when we actually hire editorial assistants, being OUP, we get a lot of resumes saying, I have a passion for the written word, and I love poetry, and those get filtered to the books colleagues. And the assistant that I hired most recently, which was now 2 years ago, her most closely related publishing experience was that she was a hostess at one of the busiest steakhouses in New York. And she has been so excellent at her job because she understands what a client needs and how to manage the expectations of a business with what a client's desires are. And so I guess that's my, word of wisdom, that if you're in the business as an early professional, that you don't have to have a great background in a specific scientific discipline or humanities discipline. You just have to want to help people and want to kind of get their message out within the company.
I think that, to go along with that, the favorite part of my job is teaching and educating. In the humanities, as I said, we're probably 5 to 7 years behind. And right now I'm educating my editors why it's important to have an article abstract and keywords included. They're fighting me because they don't want people just to read that. So, and in teaching my staff also, in helping educate my staff to go beyond just the print or make it a duplication, but how can we think what's going to happen in 5 years? Where do we want our content?
Jeremy, any every day you love?
I'll just add really quick. I mean, I think it's interesting, like when I'm at parties or I meet new people or whatever, and they ask me what I do, every time I give an answer, it's something different, because it's, this industry has a lot of different, you kind of have to tailor maybe a response so people can understand a little bit. If you say you're in publishing, that could mean anything. And I just think that speaks to like a lot of different aspects of the industry. And I also really enjoy the fact that this industry kind of doesn't sit on its hands, and it's always looking ways to innovate. And that's what makes the job exciting, that you got to be looking ahead, and you have to constantly be looking and paying attention to what's next on the horizon.
Great, thank you. Okay, so just to finish up, one more train map. This is the London Underground. So like any transportation system, the plan or the map may look logical, but it can be sometimes quite chaotic, especially at those interchanges. And I think there could be delays en route, and sort of as commissioning and acquisitions managers and publishers, we need to keep focused on that end destination, so driving our trains. And I think we all have to coexist quite harmoniously, sort of on that same network, on the same map. And let's hope that any construction or engineering work disruption sort of we don't lose sort of our pathway, and that we can create innovative new products to hopefully expand our businesses and enhance the current landscape. So that was just my final thought, and I will leave you with there are contact details here, so please feel free to get in touch with anyone if you've got any questions or would like some more information about roles that maybe they're hiring. I don't know. If you are interested in these careers and pursuing careers, I'd just like to take a moment to thank you, Jeremy and Dan and Ashley and Diana. Thank you very much for speaking today, and thank you all for coming and listening. And please don't forget, I think there's an online survey after the SSP, so any remarks and feedback will be greatly appreciated. So thank you all, and I think it's in time for coffee, afternoon coffee. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.